The hard truth. Why does it hurt? The hard truth and why it hurts. People always say, speak the truth. Let the truth set you free. But I've been finding it increasingly hard to speak the truth to people I know. They say, hey, I'm going to tell you something, Soshai, but don't use it against me. And I'm like, I won't. I don't. There is no sense of me using what you tell me in confidence against you. It's not going to benefit me. Even in anger, if I'm upset at you, I'm not going to throw it back in your face. That's like a low blow. Think about it. When a boxer is boxing, right, and they punch below the waistline, that's a low blow. They will literally demolish their opponent by hitting them below the belt. If they hit their opponent below the belt, their opponent become incontinent, meaning they can't hold their fluids, right? And the pain sends shockwave through their bodies. So when someone tell you something in confidence, don't use it back against them. It doesn't benefit you to do that unless you have you always had a hidden agenda. People always say, hey, you should take accountability. The truth hurts. And I find it that the very people that would say, take accountability, the truth hurts, will be the same people that when you tell them the truth, they get mad. They can't handle the truth. And it's fascinating to me how they get angry because they can't handle the truth. And this is not necessarily a gender thing, but people will say that the different genders speak lies and the different genders speak the truth. Which gender speak the truth? Right? Which gender speak the truth? It is still up. They have done peer review research, and they can't really decide who really speaks the truth. Genders speak the truth. Which gender? Right? I saw a study, but it's an old study, that says that 700, almost 800 percent out of the people that they study, right? I think it's over 800, over 700, almost 800 women said that they lied, and over 1,000 men, just shy under 1,100, say that they lie. But let's face it, the cold hard truth is what hurt our feelings. Right? They say that a man is supposed to cry alone. They say that a man's supposed to keep it inside, and a woman should cry out, seek comfort from her friends, family. However, it doesn't equalize if there are traumas that's happening. And we go through that all the time. We go through that all the time. Right? You'll find that if you follow any celebrities, right? And I'm going to speak in terms of female and male celebrities because somehow we think that the celebrities are the ones that we're supposed to be pedestalizing. We think that the celebrities are the ones that should receive our adorations, that we should admire them. And a lot of the time, the celebrities are the one that's perpetuating these lies. They'll create songs that tell you to lie, right? And over the years that I've been alive, I like to say 200 years, right? I'll play around and say, hey, I've been around for 200 years. And of course, I'm looking good for 200, you know? Let's continue there. So, there are celebrities that would say, hey, I'm single by choice. And I don't need a man. And they'll go through their entire 20s, 30s, 40s, and when they're 50 or almost 50, that's when they're ready to settle down and they need a man. And they say the dating pool, there's no good man out there. But when a good guy is in their purview, their peripherals don't even stretch over to them. They don't even have time to preview a person that is potentially good for them. So what do? They sink themselves into their careers. They would go along and they're in the echo chamber. And they'll stay in the echo chamber for many years. Right? And when they get older, they say, it wasn't me. There was no good guys. No good guys. And then they say, I had a best guy friend. And we were just best friends. And every time I break up with someone, one second. And every time I break up with someone, he was there to comfort me. He was there as a shoulder for me to cry on. So you mean all along that you had a guy that's there for you, possibly had feelings for you, but you weren't seeing him like that. Why? Because he didn't put butterflies in your stomach. He didn't let your private parts jump or tingle. So you put him in the friend zone and you kept him there. I've heard of stories where friend zone men would be in the friend zone and they want to have a family. They want to have children. But the person that they are friends with, that put them in the friend zone, the woman, she doesn't want kids, no children. So what this guy, this friend zone guy, some would call him a simp, would decide and make the decision to not pursue a relationship with somebody to have children, in hopes that she will change her mind. All right? That's what happens. That's what typically happens a lot. Right? Let me play an audio from a clip. Right? And then we can Let me pause this. Let me jump it over. I'm just gonna play the audio, not gonna play the video, but I want you to hear, right?
Be lying to women. And women lie to themselves even more. And I'll be frank, the good majority of y'all easy to lie to. Like,
Listen to him.
no,
Listen to him.
no, bigger. Like, because the moment you decide you like, I don't ever have to make sense again.
Keep talking, Trim.
Long as I know the rhythm to your two-step, we good in this. So like, y'all be looking at that, why y'all keep lying? Why y'all keep falling for it?
Oh.
We just talked about this the other night. Y'all get up on platforms and like that. Men ain't these dumb, these this. How the do it keep working, bruh?
Cause y'all liars.
How? Let me know.
See what she's saying? Men are all liars. We're all liars. Even when the evidence is in their face. I have some good friends, female friends. Been around for a long time, in a relationship, married. Divorced now, some of them. Or out of a relationship, some of them. And it's the same story. Now, this is not throwing anybody's business out there, so no one names will be called. However, I will say this. It's the same story. The breakup, take back. I've been there. The breakup, the rekindling. And the cycle keeps happening. We don't want to hear the truth. Our families will tell us the truth. And you know, sometimes, especially the elderlies, they will speak the truth without any reservations. Right? Without any reservations. And you cannot say that they're not speaking the truth, because they're not going to have any holds bars. They're going to make sure that you know what they're saying. They will even call name. They'll embarrass you with telling you the truth. Because the hard truth hurts. Every one of us experienced that. The hard truth. We can make a mistake. And let's say we know that we're going to F up. We know that what we're doing is a mistake. And we're going to regret it. But we'll come up with some silly excuse, some silly reasons to do it anyway. And then when the consequences hits, then we say, oh, why did I do that? Why? Because you wanted to do it. We make time for things that we want to do, and we do the things that we know we're not supposed to do, even we believe that we know what the outcome is going to be. Right? All right, for instance, I'm not a religious person. And I've often seen where the Bible will say something. Now, let me say this again. I'm not a religious person. I don't follow any religious doctrine, any religious denomination, any religious faction. I am just a free bird flying, because I want to be able to be so pragmatic in my decision making that I want to be comfortable with being in a room with a Christian, a Muslim, a Buddhist, a Jew, a shamanist, Anybody, any religion out there, you pick one. Being in the room and don't have a bias towards any of them, of course I will have my thoughts because I would see contradictions that goes beside what they profess in their beliefs, right? So going back to the point now. Now there is the Old Testament and the New Testament, right? And there are a lot of lost or removed books, right? The word Bible simply means a book of stories, allegories, stories. And people have been following these doctrines for a long time. Now, when I was a devout Christian, I took heed to the word that was spoken, that's written in the Bible. And one word, one paragraph, part of the scripture that I remember, like I said, I don't follow any religion, but there are certain parts I can quote, right? So if I'm going to quote this part, it says that, not verbatim, just close enough, that the Lord's words, right? God's words, Elohim, Yahuwah, words will never change. And for those of you that don't know, Yahuwah is the original name, the Hebrew name for God, for the one that they call God. So anywhere you see in the Bible where it says God, replace it with Yahuwah. Right? His words will never change. However, here comes the New Testament. And the words have, things that were said in the Old Testament have changed. And I've heard from people that I know and love says that that's the promise, the covenant was fulfilled when the one they call Jesus, whose original name is Yahusha, right? So if you don't know the name Jesus, that's made up. And there's so much more to it. But the original Messiah's name is Yahusha, the Messiah, or Yahusha HaMashiach. Now, going back, if we are to believe that the Creator's words will never change, how is it that the very things that were said in the Old Testament have now changed in the New Testament? It's the cold hard truth. It can't be denied. Right? You're not supposed to eat certain meats. And many people are eating those meats, like pork. And it caused them to get sick, worms. And when you call it out, they make excuses. They say that the covenant was fulfilled. Excuse me. Another thing. This may hurt feelings again, but it's the truth. It's the hard truth. I know and are friends with women that are preachers. And the Bible that they believe in says women are not supposed to be preachers. But yet, in churches, you'll find women that are preachers. Now, how does that make sense? It's the hard truth. Right? Okay. Now, there's so many different parts to the truth in life. When we want to hear the truth, we want to hear it in a certain tone. So we have people that are tone police. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. Wait. So you're worried about my tone and not the truth that I'm saying to you or the truth that's being said to you? How does that make sense? Tone policing. And even if you change the tone, they say you're not emotionally mature. You need to evaluate the temperature in the room. Why? Because they want to manipulate what you say and how you say what you're saying to make you feel guilty for saying the truth. Never, never allow someone to tone police you. If they do that and you call them out on it and they persist, just end the conversation because it's never going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. The truth hurts. Sometimes when someone even telling me the truth, I just have to shut up. And I know it makes me feel a way, but I would much rather hear the truth than protect my ego. Because without the truth, there will be no growth. People will prefer to protect their ego than growing. It is so true. I often wonder why, when you tell someone the truth, they become very vindictive towards you. They become very vindictive towards you because you spoke the truth. My mom, who is now dead and gone, I remember I went to her and I said, Mom, let me preface this by saying, my mom was angry at me. She passed away still angry at me. And one of the reasons why she was angry at me is because when it comes to speaking the truth, I did not back down. She wanted me to tell her. She wanted me to tell lies, and she wanted me to pretend that the lies that she was telling were truthful. I remember one day I went to her and we were having just a candid conversation. And she said, you're evil. You worship the devil. And I'm like, what? No. She said, you're atheist. I'm like, no, that's not true. I'm not. I do believe that there are creators out there. The Elohims. Elohim mean more than one. Right? Let us create man and all things. So I said to her, when she said that, I said, what make you think that I'm atheist? Oh, because you don't believe in God. And I said to her, you being an example of God, of what? Of you being an example of a Christian and the way you behave, it's more like how a deceiver would behave. Right? Now, she goes on to say, I hate you because you're not a Christian. And I said, Mom, I'm not a Christian because I learned the truth. There are a lot more things that I've learned because I spend 3 years of my life from 30 to 33 reading the Bible. I read Three different versions: the Old Testament, the Bible. I forgot which version after the Old Testament, and then I read the New Testament. And I found so much contradiction between all three of them. And don't get me wrong, during the process of reading, I had tears in my eyes. Like, man, I've been a Christian for all these years. I've been baptized multiple times, 7 times to be exact. And I went through the emotions. And it took me years after to fully evacuate all of the belief out of my systems. And when I told her that is because of the contradiction, and the contradiction I saw in the book, in the Bible, and also the way I see religious people operate. They'll go to their church, their temple, their synagogue, their what's the what is called the I forgot the other one. Give me a second. Let me look it up. Where does the worship? Let me look at it. Okay, the mosque, right? So whether it's a church, a temple, a mosque, wherever else the other religious groups, I found that I watched the behaviors of all these groups of people that profess religion and their belief system, and the contradiction is far what they say, what it said in their belief system to do or not to do. They're far removed in their behavior. Far removed in their behavior. So much bloodshed over religion because one believe in this God, and this one believe in that God, and this one believe in that God, and everybody claim that their God is the true God, and only you can only reach the promised land through this one God, and at the same time that particular God is not even real. It's a construct. The name that they're calling on is not even the name. How can you call someone, let's say someone is named David, and you call them Daniel, and you know that original name is David, and then someone comes to you and say, hey, you know you've been calling David Daniel for a very long time. It's time to stop because you're calling on the wrong name, and that name that you're calling on might be the name that they don't want you to call on. Not they don't want you to send out the energy, because words are energy. Words brings waves out in the universe. So you now are speaking and calling a name of an entity that never existed. So your information is not really going where it needs to go. So when I say to my mom, many things I found as to why I made a decision. I've seen pastors done things. I've heard of pastors doing things, priests doing things, right? And it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. The hard truth is we're human beings. And we're fighting over the wrong things. We're fighting over religion. Which God is the bestest God in town? Which God is the bestest God in the universe? Which God is the bestest God that you should give your soul to? Right? The Christian, the Muslims, the Jew, the Buddhists. I mean, come on. There are let me tell you. How many religions are there in the world? How many religion? Okay. So there are 10,000 religions. There are 10,000 religions worldwide. All right, this was a report that was done by Wasserman in 2024. With most of them falling under the 12 classical religions: Baha'i, Buddhism, Christianity, Confucianism, Hinduism, Islam, Jainism, Judaism, Shinto, Sikhism, Tokism, and Zoroastrianism. Major religions of the world in the 2020s. Those are just a few, right? Which religion is number one? Christianity is currently the world's largest religion by numbers of followers. 2.3 billion adherents, followed closely by Islam, which is the fastest growing religion group and projected to nearly equal Christianity in size by 2050. According to Pew Research Center, other major faiths include Hinduism, Buddhism, and a growing segment of people with no religious affiliation. That's me. I'm in that group with no religious affiliation. I love people. Oh my. I love people. It actually brings me tears to my eyes when I say that. I love people. And what I hate to see are people that are committing crimes, doing wicked things to people under the veil of religion. Why? Why are we doing these things? The hard truth is that we're not supposed to kill each other. We're supposed to love each other. Right? In good times, in bad times, we're supposed to care for each other. We have different factions. We're warring over effing skin color. We're warring over effing belief. We're warring over so many different things. Who has what? We're warring over classism. You don't have this amount of money. You are second class. You're a second class citizen. You live in poverty. You're a pauper. You're a bum. We shouldn't be doing all of this crap. The hard truth is we're supposed to just be loving each other, caring for each other. Right? We tell each other lies all the time because a lie is more comforting than the freaking truth. Why? Why is a lie more comforting than the truth? Because Because we are conditioned to believe lies over the truth. We're conditioned that way. And we don't even realize that we're conditioned that way. When I talk to certain people and I said, hey, do you think that your thoughts are your own thoughts? And they say, yes, my thoughts are my own thoughts. I'm like, absolutely not. We're all conditioned. It doesn't matter who you think you are. We're all conditioned. People, just understand how conditioning works. It's subtle. There's a little truth and there's some lies in the truth, or there's some lie and there's some truth in the lie. Because you can't have all lies, because people will question it because it sounds unrealistic. You can't have all truth, because then it's not salacious enough. It's not enticing enough for you to sit and listen, because it's too truthful. So people will mix the lies into the truth, or vice versa. This is how it works. We're conditioned. We're conditioned from we're young. I said something to someone the other day. I said, the question was like, Garth, how is it that you look so toned? I don't eat meat. I take care of my body. And one of the things I don't do, I don't use certain oils when I cook. So what kind of oil do you use when you cook? I said, there are only 3 oils. Only 3 oils that the body can handle. And I say, those are olive oil, avocado oil, and coconut oil. And any other oils is bad for the body. Canola oil, bad for the body. Grapeseed oil, bad for the body. Let me pull up the different oils that we shouldn't eat. What are the toxic cooking oils? What are the most toxic cooking oils? Okay, so some of the most toxic cooking oils are, let me read this. The most dangerous cooking oils often cited are highly processed seed oils like soybean oil, corn oil, canola oil. And if you don't know, canola oil was, back then before they cleaned it up, was used to lubricate mechanical parts in machinery, right? So canola oil, cottonseed oil, sunflower oil, grapeseed oil. Due to their high omega-6 content, instability, that means that it cannot deal with heat the way other oils can, the healthier oils can. When heated, when heated, creating aldehyde, that's HNE, the abbreviation, and linked to inflammation and disease. So you get disease in the body. Disease, let's break it down. That's a promantu, mean 2 words that combine into one. That's discomfort, and ease. Dis-ease became disease, right? So inflammation and disease. Reused fast food oils are particularly harmful. Healthier alternatives are high heat, including avocado oil or olive oil, while unrefined oils like walnut are best for low heats. So, list of oils. So just so you understand, The hard truth is that people don't want to hear it. You'll bring the truth to them and you tell them, hey, I've done this. It's not going to turn out well for you over time. Right? So I'm just talking about a mix of different things. I just thought that, today I'm just going to have a conversation. Right? If you have any comments, you can drop your comments into the chat. Right? Right? And let me check something real quick. Give me a second, guys. Making sure that we're all good. Yep. Okay. All right. So, as I was saying, we are a species that prefer to be lied to. Right? When it comes to our health, we want to be lied to. Let me continue reading. Let me see if I see any. Okay, so soybean oil, corn oil, cottonseed oil, canola oil, sunflower oil, safflower oil, rice bran, and grapeseed. These are all industrial seed oils, often from GMO crops, heavily processed, bleaching, deodorized, high heat, leading to unstable fat that promotes inflammation when cooked. People, the hard truth is when someone comes to you and say, hey, if you do this, this is what's going to happen to you. You're going to have an adverse reaction that later on it's not going to turn out good. I was talking about my mom earlier. I remember when I was young, and my mom was 33 at the time. She was in her 30s. And my mom had this thing about her. Every time after she finished eating dinner, she popped a candy in her mouth. And I would ask her, like, Mom, why is it every time you put a ice mint in your mouth after you finish eating? It's going to harm you, Mom. Now, mind you, I was young. I had no clue what the effects on the body would have been later on. But I would cite that grandma have swollen legs and she's diabetic. Remember, Mom, that when grandma got a cut, the cut would not heal. So much so that it started smelling. Do you remember, Mom? Why are you eating a candy after every meal? And she would say, Lord, leave me alone. Let me enjoy my life. I said, Mom, okay. Boy, leave me alone. Mom, please stop doing that. Or she'll make the lemonade. Or I'll make the lemonade. And the lemonade is just lightly sweetened. And you know my mom, after bring it to her, she would say, boy, this don't have any taste. Go get the sugar. I'm like, Mom, it's sweet. She said, go get the sugar. I go get the sugar. And Mom takes 2 scoops of sugar out. And I'm talking those big tablespoons sometimes. If it's a tablespoon, she'll take 2 scoops of sugar, put it. If it's a teaspoon, she'll take 4. And she'll put in. Now, the glass is probably not much bigger than this. Let me see. Not much bigger than this. Right? And she'll put sugar in there and sweeten it and take a lemon and squeeze the lemon in it and then drop the lemon in the glass. She'll do that so often. And I'm like, Mom, you're going to hurt yourself. The hard truth. is that years later, my mom developed diabetes, so she became a diabetic. Now, you want to hear something even more crazy? What's more crazy is that I know people that are diabetic, and their actions does not coincide with what the doctor tells them not to do. The doctor will tell them the hard truth, and they'll do something else. So here's what I've seen diabetic folks would do. And my mom was in that same pool. You're not supposed to have muffins. They're very high in sugar. High fructose corn syrup at that. And you know what would happen? That my mom would buy a 6 to 12 pack of muffins, and she will eat the muffins, and then after she eats the muffins, she goes and she takes an insulin shot. Yes. And I'm like, Mom, you're hurting yourself. Leave me alone, let me enjoy my life, is what she would say. I'm old, let me enjoy my life. But Mom, you're not supposed to be doing that. Leave me alone, she would say. And that was the cold hard truth. My mom's blood pressure will go up so much. And then when she goes to the doctor said, what did you eat? Oh, nothing. I just took a small piece of something sweet. I wasn't feeling so good. She didn't tell the doctor that she ate the whole muffin. And she take an insulin shot. The hard truth is that we don't want to hear the hard truth. So why does the hard truth hurt? Because even though we know that we're not supposed to do something, guess what? We do it anyway. It doesn't matter. Politics. Let's talk a little about politics. I'm not going to resonate in politics too long. A certain government want resources. They will come up with a lie, propagandize the lie, get the people on board. And this happened worldwide. Worldwide. Get the people on board. And when the people are on board, then they go and follow through on their lie. But by the time people realize that it was a lie, it was already too late. War is already on the way. They will lie to push things on the community. They will make promises like say, hey, do this, and if you do this, you'll get all these benefits. And guess what? The people go along with it, believe in the lies. All right? For instance, when the welfare system came in, right? They use it, the black community was targeted. And when that community was targeted, it says, you can't have your man in the house. If you have your man in the house, you will not get these benefits. And so what did the woman do? They kicked the man out of the house. Right? They kicked the man out of the house so they can get the benefits. But what was that welfare for? The hard truth is that welfare was done to get the fathers out of the household. Right? So the welfare system started in America in 1935. So let me read it. The welfare in America started in earnest with the Social Security Act of 1935, signed by President Franklin D. Roosevelt during the Great Depression. That Great Depression was a farce. It was created to get the people to adjust to this new system that they wanted to bring in: Social Security, the welfare administration, the welfare system. Let's continue. All right. So, established. So it was signed by Franklin D. Roosevelt during the Great Depression, establishing the federal aid for the elderly, unemployed, and dependent children, creating the foundation for modern U.S. welfare system. Through early state charities, aid existed, and programs expanded later on under President Johnson Great Society. Right? So that Social Security Act. So let me tell you exactly when they told the American woman that, now, like I said, the hard truth is that one group of people was targeted and said the man can't be in the household, while the other group of people, the husband, must be in the household. Now, this is not a racial thing, but it's facts. They using the phrase for simple context, the black American women were told that the man can't be in the household, while the white American were told the man can be in the household. There was an agenda. That's the hard truth. Right? So let me do a quick check. When did the welfare system offer women money to kick out of the home? Okay, so let me read this passage. The idea that welfare encouraged women to kick men out of the homes largely stemmed from the federal aid of families with dependent children, the AFDC program, established in 1939, which is the welfare system, and particularly its later men in the house rule. Right? It's called the men in the house rule. Right? So which let me do this. Let me continue reading, and I'm gonna bring it over. Which were designed to ensure aid went to truly fatherless homes, but often forced men out to qualified for benefits. All right, so let me do this so you guys can see that I'm not lying. Okay. So let me see if I can bring this up a little bit. All right. So let me read it. So the idea that the welfare system aids to family with dependent children, or AFDC, financially incentivize men to leave the homes stem from men in the household rule in the 1940s to 1960s, which actually denied aid if an unmarried man was present, leading to the perception that welfare encouraged fatherlessness. However, the system was fundamentally designed to support children and significantly reformed was significantly reformed in 1996 and ended AFDC entitlement status, shifting focus to work, but didn't directly create this kick. No, listen. I personally saw that when there was. Listen, let me say this before. When a family is in a household, when a family is in a household, and the man and the woman are not married on paper, as long as the man is in the household taking care of the children, does marriage on paper really matters? If they're giving welfare to people that are in depraved circumstances, and they're saying that the man can't be in the household, because it was true. It was true. Firsthand, I'm telling you firsthand, it was true. They asked the question, is the man living in the house? Yes, you're denied. They wait and go back. Is the man living in the household? No. Then they send out investigators. The investigators investigate to see if the man is living in the household, and they'll come at random times, unexpected. Same thing, right? And they'll check to see if there are any shoes from a man that's there, any clothing, and they'll check everywhere, including the laundry room. And I'm telling you this because I saw it. Why? Because they want to make sure that, under the guise of making sure that the money is going to the children. That's bullshit. They wanted no father in the household, so what can happen? No fathers are there to help to raise the children, so they become wild and unruly. And now we have a jail system with over 2 million plus, going on 3 million people in jail. And most of the people that are in jail are coming from households where there are no fathers. And after a generation of telling fathers that they can't be in the household, these young boys grow up in the mindset that, oh, I don't have to be in the household. So they go and get a bunch of girls pregnant, different bunch of baby moms, different women pregnant, and, oh, I don't have to be in the household because the government is going to take care of my children. That conditioning happened over time. Remember when I said earlier, are your thoughts, or are you programmed? We were programmed, systematically programmed over time. Systematically programmed over time. So, when you see young people acting out the way they're acting and behaving the way they're behaving, and remember something here, it's not specifically only, quote unquote, black Americans. It's not only black people. It's happening across the board. Latinos, the one they call Latinos, Caucasians, it's happening across the board now. Because, there's this word, and I mentioned it before, that they call culture vulture, where one culture will steal another culture's identity and cosplay and don't want to have the same experience. However, I say that term culture vulture should be done away with. And what's supposed to be used is culture mimicking. Because everybody is following the same path. It may take a long time, and they'll put laws in place that say, hey, it's illegal to do this and it's illegal to do that. But really, do you think that you're going to stop people from being who they really are or what they really want to do? Absolutely not. You're not going to stop anybody from being who they really want to be. Is just a part of the process. Right? People are going to be people. Listen, this is coming from me, Guard So Shy. If you ever hear the phrase culture vulture, think in the terms of this, because I coined the phrase culture mimicking. That's what we're all doing. Culture mimicking. Remember that. Culture mimicking. Right? I've said it before and I'm saying it again. We're all doing it. We're people, and no matter how laws are put in place, once you are around a certain group, you become like that group. You have the ghetto, which was created during the Holocaust time, where they put the Jews in what they call a ghetto, which is now in the United States for a very long time, where they redline and put marginalized people in a pocket, a group, and give them lower standards of living, and the funding that should go towards schools and building the community, they don't get it. That money goes to another community in the suburbs. And so they create different structures like redlining to keep a group of people away. But when you can take a Caucasian person, a white person, and put in a melanated person, Negro person, or black person's neighborhood, and that white person is going to talk and act the same way of that neighborhood that they grew up in. And when you see them on the street and you hear them speak, you'll be like, huh? Because it's unusual. They're not culture vulturing. They grew up in that culture of depravity, of bad speaking, where they can't pronounce words properly. Their grammar sucks. Right? Their thoughts are incongruent. Make you have to wonder, like, what are they saying? They speak with every other word as a profanity, because that's how they were raised. So anywhere that you go and a group of people is moved from one neighborhood and brought to another neighborhood, it doesn't matter where they were born, what color their skin is or are, they are going to mimic exactly where they grew up. Culture mimicking, not culture vulturing. That term should be gone with the birds. Fly south for the winter and stay there. The hard truth is, there are so many things that we've been led to believe. And if we're just willing to open our eyes and open our ears, we can learn so much. But after we learn so much, we then have to decide, is this the truth? Or is this just another propaganda? Is this just another lie? Because it's hard to believe when something is said, because we are conditioned to believe lies. So that's why when we hear the truth, it hurts. That's why when we hear the truth, it hurts, because we're conditioned to believe lies. How is it that we grow up and we believe something so much that it's embedded, entrenched in us? And then when the truth comes, it hits us like a ton of brick. A ton of bricks. And when you really realize what you're hearing is the truth, you get so angry. Tell me in the chat, did that ever happen to you? Like, you've believed something for so long, and then someone tells you, hey, you know that what you were told was a lie? You're like, no, it's not a lie. It's the truth. And they said, you don't have to believe me. Here's where you can find that information. And then now, because you're curious, you start going down that rabbit hole. And then you come out of that rabbit hole on the other end, and you're like, what the? You're like, what the fuck what? I was lied to my entire life? And it makes you so angry. Angry. Like I recently learned something, because I've been going down a rabbit hole for a long time. And when I found that out, I was shocked. I was shocked. I'm not going to speak on it, what exactly that is. But it's about birthrights. It's about the originals. But I'm not going to speak on it. I'll leave you guys to wonder on that. But understand that the truth is the most hurtful thing. Why though? Why is the truth the most hurtful thing? When the truth shall set you free. When the truth shall set you free, it is the most hurtful thing. The truth can set you free, or the truth can put you in bondage. You decide what the truth does for you. But if you have a mind that is seeking righteousness and truth, you will hopefully accept the truth when it's presented to you. Because here's something that you need to understand. A liar won't tell you where to find the truth. A liar will say, you don't believe me? I'm not lying. You don't believe me? And then when you question the liar get upset. The liar get upset when you question the liar. And that's a bunch of fart. Because you can always know, if you have discernment, you can always know when a person is lying, because they get upset when you question their lies. Here's another evidence that you can know a person is lying. When they tell you what they're telling you, if you can record it, record it. Tell them that you're going to record it and watch how they respond. If you tell them that you're going to record a conversation, they will become extremely angry. Why? Why, my friend, do you ask? Why do they get angry when you tell them that you're going to record the conversation? Because if you record a conversation, you can hold their foot to the fire when they come back, and that story seems to have an alteration to it. They don't want you to have any recording of them, because it will call them out for the lying asshole that they are. That's why they don't want you to record it. All right? Remember, a person will tell you what they want you to believe. And if you believe without questioning it or having concerns, you fell for it. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. Fool me a third time, shame on the both of us. Because the first time you were lied to, you were fooled. That's not what you wanted to happen. But it happened. The second time, because you realized it was a lie, and the second time you allowed that person to lie, but because you don't want to hurt the person's feeling, you don't want to hurt their feelings, you don't want any confrontation, so you don't call them out. And they believe because you didn't call them out that, guess what? They got away with it again. So they lied to you a second time. And because you are so compassionate, you don't want any confrontation. Let sleeping dogs lie. Because if you wake up the dog will start barking and you might get bitten. So you allow them to tell you the lie the third time. And when they tell you the lie the third time, it's shame on both of you, because you allow that liar to tell you a lie and you accept it as knowing that that person's lying to you, but because you don't want a confrontation, you want the sleeping dogs to lie because you don't want any barking to happen. You allow that person to lie and go on his or her merry way, and they believe that you believe the lie. And so when you start moving differently, avoiding them, they're like, "Hey, why are you avoiding me? I thought you were my friend. I thought you were my friend. Yo, dog, why you avoiding me, dog? Yo, my Nick, why you avoid all the colloquial terms, what they call terms of endearment, right? They'll use them because you're avoiding them now, because you know that they're lying. But because you refuse to tell them the hard truth, you are left dodging them. Listen, people in every segment of the world and the population lie. Relationship, lie. Family, lie. Religious people, lie. Politician, lie. I call them politicians. They lie. Right? The food industry, lie. The water industry, lie. There's so much lies in the world. Literally, we're having whiplash from the amount of misinformation and disinformation that's out there. You have to question everything, because if you don't, you'll fall for anything. The truth is, we prefer to be lied to. You know, women prefer to be lied to. Some men prefer to be lied to too, because I've heard men have said, if my woman is cheating on me, I don't want to know. There's actually a song out there. If you're cheating, keep it on the low. Don't tell me, I don't want to know. If you're cheating, keep it on the low. Don't tell me, I don't want to know. Why? Because they much rather live in the lie than face the truth. Listen, heartbreak is one of the most devastating feeling. Heartbreak. Heartbreak is one of the most devastating feeling. Imagine you can get hit with a rock, a piece of board, a whip, a switch, something, and it will hurt you physically. And if your bone didn't break and your muscle didn't get torn, or your bone didn't get fractured and your muscle didn't get punctured, or your joint didn't get dislocated, or even if it did, you can heal over time from that pain. But you see, the heart, the matters of the heart, that's a different kind of feeling. People commit the most heinous crimes because of crime. They call it crime of passion. I was watching a video of a guy. Let me see if I can pull it up before I tell it to you. This guy, truck driver, into his house. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I find it. And cheating. Let me see if I find it. Truck driver. He was asleep. Is this it? Let me see. Give me a second. All right. So I'm gonna play the audio from this, right? So let me tell you a little bit. So this is a truck driver that he found out his wife was cheating, and let me play it. I think I might just do this. Let me just copy it and bring it over and play it. New window. Paste and go. Come on. All right. Nope. Don't want that. Let me give me a second, guys. So let me speed that up and skip this. All right. So I bring that back over now. So this truck driver, let me make sure that.
Pay close attention to the footage recovered from the truck's cabin.
All right. So I'm going to play this. So this truck driver found out his wife was cheating. And what he did next once he found out she was cheating, he actually bought a nice home. His wife lived in the home, had a best friend that's supposed to be gay, but that's not what happened. So let me play the video and you can watch the video.
This is the shit, total shit. They ruined my life all over.
Pay close attention to the footage recovered from the truck's cabin camera. It shows Derek starting what appears to be a routine cargo delivery to Atlanta. About 30 minutes into the drive, as he reaches the edge of the city, a notification appears on his phone. He looks at the screen, then suddenly throws the phone against the windshield. The next clip shows the truck already heading in the opposite direction. Derek's driving is unstable, and his movements suggest he is no longer in control. Footage from an intersection camera captures the truck running a red light without slowing down. A street camera records the vehicle speeding through a residential area at a dangerous pace. Moments later, cabin footage shows Derek turning toward a residential street leading to a house. The truck crashes into the home, killing 2 people inside. Now, here's what actually happened. Before we dive deeper, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss any of our upcoming videos. The case began with a collision in a residential block on the east side of Orlando, Florida. At 12:41 a.m. on June 12, 2023, a tractor-trailer left the paved portion of Lakewood Drive, crossed a yard, and struck the front wall of 2147 Lakewood Drive. The impact collapsed the living room and drove the cab deep into the house. Residents reported hearing a single impact and then car alarms. A nearby doorbell camera recorded the truck entering the frame and continuing straight into the house without visible swerving. Debris was spread through the front rooms, and the structure showed heavy damage concentrated at the point of impact. Inside the room, 34-year-old warehouse clerk Marcus Bell was found near the former window area with injuries incompatible with life. Paramedics confirmed death at the scene. Also in the living room was 27-year-old customer service representative Alana Brooks. She was located under collapsed material close to the impact point with crush injuries and shallow breathing. She was transported to Orlando Regional Medical Center and later pronounced dead. Medical staff linked both deaths directly to the vehicle impact and structural failure. The driver of the tractor-trailer was identified from his commercial driver's license as 30-year-old Derek Vaughn, a long-haul freight driver who lived on the same street. Vaughn resided with his wife, Alana, in a rented apartment in a 3-story building at 2129 Lakewood Drive, within sight of Bell's home. Fire crews reached the cab within minutes. They found Vaughn conscious, pinned at the legs, with visible fractures and facial lacerations, and used hydraulic tools to free him. Initial radio traffic described a major crash with injuries and a residence strike. Within minutes, however, observations at the scene raised doubts about an accidental cause. Officers noted the absence of skid marks on the asphalt leading to the yard. Tire tracks in the grass formed a direct line from the street to the living room wall without visible deviation. Residents told officers that large trucks did not usually enter Lakewood Drive. Officer Denise Klein of the Orlando Police Department reached Vaughn as rescue personnel were treating him. Her body microphone recorded his statements. According to her later report, Vaughn repeatedly said, "I saw it. I saw everything," and then asked, "Is she in there?" When Klein asked whom he meant, he replied, "My wife. She's in there with him." Vaughn did not ask about the number of injured people or whether anyone had survived. His focus stayed on whether his wife and Bell were still in the house. Paramedics stabilized Vaughn with a neck collar, splints, and intravenous medication.
Watch what magnesium does to your bowels.
Why does Grandma's tummy look pregnant? This blocks your bowels. This blocks your bowels. And
Despite apparent pain, he responded correctly when asked his name, the date, and his location. A fire captain asked whether he had fallen asleep or blacked out while driving. Vaughn answered, "No, I knew where I was going," and gave no further detail. As additional patrol units arrived, officers conducted a brief canvass of surrounding homes. Neighbors identified Marcus Bell as the sole occupant of 2,147 and described him as a warehouse employee who worked irregular shifts. They identified Alana as Derek's wife and confirmed that she normally came and went from the apartment at 2129, not from Bell's address. One neighbor, 45-year-old delivery driver Norman Patel, said he had seen Bell and Alana talking outside on several occasions but had never heard arguments involving Derek or any loud disputes among them. By 1:30 a.m., supervisors from the traffic homicide and violent crimes units had set a perimeter around the damaged residence and the disabled truck. Investigators photographed the vehicle's position, the impact point, and the interior of the living room. They documented the locations of Marcus and Alana and the direction of debris. The physical layout matched the doorbell video and supported the conclusion that the truck had continued straight into the house without braking or evasive action. Records from the company indicated that the truck had been scheduled to return to a distribution center located several miles away, reachable by larger roads that did not pass through Lakewood Drive. From that information, supervisors concluded that Vaughn's presence on the residential street represented a departure from his assigned route. Before Vaughn was transported, Officer Klein informed him that his spouse had been located inside the house and taken to the hospital in critical condition. According to a report, Vaughn responded, "I knew she was there," and did not ask why she was present in Bell's residence or whether anyone else had survived. He repeated, "I knew it," several times while medics prepared him for transport. Detective Leonard Hayes of the Orlando Police Department's Violent Crimes Unit received the file on the morning of June 12, 2023. His assignment was to determine whether the crash on Lakewood Drive was accidental or deliberate. He began.
So, as you can surmise already, is that he installed the camera, and while on his route, he discovered that his wife was being smashed by her gay friend. And what he did next, as you saw in the video, he drove into the neighborhood and turned the vehicle and drove right into the house and tore down the house. And let's continue.
And with the people involved, starting with the driver. Records listed Derek Vaughn, 30, as a long-haul driver employed by Sunstate Regional Freight. He had held a commercial license for 8 years and worked for Sunstate for 5. Performance reviews described him as reliable until the previous year, when supervisors noted late check-ins and missed calls at scheduled stops. Marriage records and the lease showed that Derek lived with his wife, 27-year-old customer support worker Alana Brooks, in a rented apartment in a 3-story building at 2129 Lakewood Drive. 2 houses down, at 2147, lived 34-year-old warehouse clerk Marcus Bell, the sole occupant of the single-story home struck by the truck. Police databases showed no prior incident reports linking any of the 3. With little history of open conflict, Hayes turned to digital records. A warrant to Derek's wireless carrier and email provider produced billing transactions and device notifications. One entry stood out. On June 7, 2023, Derek purchased a compact Wi-Fi camera from an online retailer, shipping it to the Lakewood Drive address and paying with a debit card linked to his checking account. Confirmation emails went to his personal address. Internet service logs for the Vaughn apartment showed that on June 9th at 10:18 p.m., a new device with the camera manufacturer's hardware signature connected to the home router. Within minutes, Configuration traffic established a link between that device and a cloud account registered to Derek's email.
I have no idea who came up with the idea to get me this, but it's genius. It's 2025, and some people are still using those battery lights.
There's a camera, guys. That's the camera.
Metadata showed that motion alerts were enabled and set to forward to Derek's mobile phone. To learn where the camera had been placed, Hayes obtained a search warrant for the exterior of Marcus Bell's property. During execution of that warrant, officers located a small camera mounted under the eave near the front living room window of 2147. The lens faced the glass. The serial number matched the purchase record recovered from Derek's email. The device was powered and connected when removed and logged as evidence. Hayes then requested footage from a city-owned utility pole camera near the intersection serving the Bell residence. Reviewing frames from the late evening of June 9th, he saw a male figure with Derek's approximate height and build walking from the direction of 2129 toward 2147, carrying a small object. The person stopped near the living room window area for several minutes before returning along the same route. The timing matched the...
So, I guess you guys got the gist already, right? That this guy discovered that his wife that he left home had been having an affair with the warehouse manager. So I have not seen this full video, never watched it before. I only saw a clip, right? But I speculate that the same warehouse manager that sends him out to go make the deliveries knows that he's out making the deliveries. So he can go over to the house and smash the wife, or the wife can come to him because he lives just down the block. So all along they're having an affair while he's out driving and making deliveries. But what they didn't realize was that the camera, he must have suspected something. And the camera caught everything. So he's watching his wife being pounded. He's watching his wife being pounded. That is a hurtful feeling. He knew the truth. He knew the hard truth. And he decided that he's going to take action. He decided that he was going to take action. We are always being lied to. Makes you wonder. It makes us wonder. The lonely cries. The pain. The feeling of the heart. That's debilitating. It is crippling. Man, let me tell you, man, I've been there a few times. I always say, I've been around a couple 100 years, 200 years, right? So I've been around for a long time. So I've been through many heartbreaks. It is a debilitating feeling. Not once, a few times, turned down good woman that meant the best for me, because my heart was in so much pain. My body was in knots from hurt, and I couldn't shake the feeling. And eventually, that good woman left. I remember one time one of them told me, I will wait. And I told her, no, I don't want you to wait. Because maybe I heal and I realize I don't want to be with anybody right now. You know? So just to understand that the hard truth, we'll hear it all the time. And we just don't want to adhere. We'll hide from the truth. Right? We'll hide from the truth.
Facts.
Because the truth hurts so much. It hurts so much. But we just keep being ridiculous. We just buck up against the truth. It is one of the most ridiculous things that we can do.
Stupid.
But we are constantly lied to. So people, know this, that the hard truth hurts. So the reason why it hurts is because we know that we don't want to face the truth, because we're conditioned to believe lies. Or if they say, no, it's not a lie, it's not really a lie, it's a white lie. No, it's still a lie. It's still a lie. A white lie is still a lie. Don't let anyone convince you otherwise. It's still a lie. They'll tell you a lie and they'll laugh. I was just joking. They're not fucking joking. They're lying to you. You just caught them in a lie. And so they say that they are joking. All right, let's do this. I'm going to pull up ChatGPT. And I'm going to ask ChatGPT, because we know that AI is superior right now. So I'm going to ask ChatGPT why people lie so much. What's the reason why people lie? Hey, ChatGPT.
Hey there. Yeah, definitely an intriguing topic. People lie for a bunch of reasons, like to protect themselves, to avoid conflict, to gain some advantage, or even out of habit. It can get pretty complex.
When you say someone lie out of habit, does that make them an habitual liar? A pathological liar?
Yeah, that's a great question. When someone lies out of habit, it can sometimes lead to them being considered an habitual liar. But for it to be classified as pathological lying, it typically means the lying is more compulsive, frequent, and can be linked to deeper psychological issues. It kind of depends on the frequency and the motivation behind it.
So, as an intelligent person, I understand what the difference between pathological lying is, or pathological, or compulsive, right?
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
For sure. So pathological lying is often more chronic and can be driven by deeper psychological needs and sometimes even a compulsion that the person might not fully control. On the other hand, compulsive lying can sometimes be more about a habit or a pattern of behavior that's not necessarily rooted in deeper psychological conditions, but there's definitely some overlap and it can get pretty nuanced.
Okay. Now,
yeah, it's
why, well, you already answered the question as why people lie, but why do
totally.
Go ahead.
No worries at all. Feel free to jump in with any other questions or angles you're curious about. I'm here to dive into any aspect of it that you want to explore.
I read a research saying that women lie more
That
than.
sounds
Hold on. I read a research that's saying women lie more than men, and then I read another one that says men lie more than women. Using your vast knowledge base, which gender lies more? And speak truthfully
yeah.
now.
Absolutely. It's actually a pretty complex topic. Studies on this often show mixed results. Some research suggests that men might lie more often about certain things like status or achievements, while women might lie more often in social contexts to avoid conflict. Overall, it really depends on the type of lie and the context, so there's no definitive answer that applies universally.
Okay. In the research that I read,
it.
here's what you're doing. You're giving me hold on. You're giving me politically correct answers, and I want a more concise, direct answer. I want the truth, right? Based on research that have been done over the years, who lies more?
Gotcha. In general, research does show some variation depending on the context. For example, some studies suggest men might lie more about things like achievements or status, while women might lie more in social or relational contexts. But overall, the differences tend to be pretty nuanced and not overwhelmingly one gender over the other. It's definitely more context dependent than anything else.
You're not telling me anything different. You told me the same thing twice. But okay, I understand. Now, in terms of politics,
Absolutely. I get where you're coming from. And yeah, when it comes to politics, the patterns can shift even more, often influenced by cultural and societal factors. If you have a specific angle in mind, I'd be happy to dive into that as well.
no, I'll leave it there because the answers that I find online and what you're telling me, you're giving me information based on inaccurate stats, and what I'm finding online is contrary to what you're saying. You are giving me information that is culturally no well so not sorry I mean politically appropriate because of the status quo, and I understand. All right, I'll leave it at that. Okay, thank you. Okay, so I'm not getting anywhere with ChatGPT. They are not going. ChatGPT is not going to be honest because it may violate certain community guidelines that they may have. I don't know, but just know that lying. I have guy friends and I have girlfriends, platonic now, so don't get the wrong ideas now, right? I have friends that, and I've been accused, like, hey, Soshai, why do you have to be so cold, right? And I'm like, I'm only telling the truth. Oh, but you don't have to tell the truth like that. I have friends that will literally want me to speak in a way that's comforting. They say I'm too harsh. They say I'm too harsh. The hard truth is that we don't want to hear the truth. I would love for someone to call in. Right? I'm going to give you a number to call in if you want to voice your opinion. The number is 1-844-788-6366. That's 1-844-788-6366. I want to hear from someone because this is an interesting topic. The hard truth is that we don't want to hear the truth. Everybody lies. It is so disheartening, you know? It is so disheartening. It's like everybody lies. And I said this earlier. I don't go to church really. And much respects to the people that go to church for their spiritual connection and their spiritual fulfillment. People go to church for different reasons. They'll go to church because they did something wrong the night before or the day before, and they'll go for forgiveness. Right? They go for different reasons. But you know, to me, the most egregious liar out there, the most egregious liars out there are pastors, preachers, and priests. And rabbis. And all these different religious beliefs. The most egregious people on the planet are the people that have this superior complex where they believe that they are given the right to lie to people under the context, right, that they're the pontiff, they're the connection to the source. And what they say is coming directly from the Creator. And they will lie. They will lie. And if people don't read, if people don't ask questions, they will believe these lies, and they will go forth and they will perpetuate this lie. And you can't blame them because they don't know that they're lying, because they go to church, they go to the temple, they go to the come on, I said it, I looked for it earlier, the mosque, and they believe that the people that are telling them the information is telling them the right information. And these are the most egregious individuals. The hard truth is that we don't want to hear the hard truth. When it comes to matters of the heart, when it comes to politics, when it comes to religion, when it comes to food, we don't want to hear the truth. We don't want to hear the truth. Politics, food, religion, love, culture. What else? Pick your poison. We don't want to hear the truth. That's just how it is. That's just how it is. I've been going for a while, guys, because this is a very open-ended topic. This is a very open-ended topic. Wars are fought because of lies. Hearts are broken because of lies. People are misled down the wrong path in their religious conviction because of lies. When the heart, remember, the soul is kind of like the heart connection. The body, mind, and spirit. The body, the vessel. The mind, the communication. The spirit, the heart. When you get those trifecta intertwined, entangled, so much so that they can't differentiate a lie from the truth, you have a serious weapon there. You can make that person do anything, say anything. The lies that we're told will make us do some of the most vile things. But love and respect conquers lies. Because if you respect someone, you won't lie to them. If you love them and want the best for them, you won't lie to them. They may not be able to handle the truth, but you have to tell them the truth. They may be angry and won't talk to you for a while. But when you tell them the truth and give it enough time, the truth will prevail. The truth will prevail. It doesn't matter. Speak the truth and let the truth set you free. Because it will set you free and it will also set the other person free. It may take time. And it often does. There are people that will tell you things, and because you question them, they get mad. I deal with that on a consistent basis from people I know. They want to tell you something, and you're not supposed to question them. Because they know, you don't know, but you don't know, meaning that you need to ask question so you can get clarification. But they don't want you to ask question. They just want you to take what they say, and not with a grain of salt. They want you to take it like you're drinking a glass of a real chill lemonade. That's how they want you to take it. Like you're drinking your favorite drink, fruit drink, soda, liquor, whatever is it that you drink that you enjoy the most. Stop drinking liquor. It's poison. It's an intoxicant. Right? But listen, guys. The hard truth hurts. It hurts. It hurts. My mother told me when I told her that I discovered something about religion and it's why I gave it up. And I presented her with the information. And I said, Mom, what you've been told all along, it's a lie. My mother said to me, leave me alone, let me keep believing the lie. That's what my mother said to me. Leave me alone, let me keep believing the lie. So just know that some people don't want to be told the truth. And those type of people, you can't help. You can't help those kind of people. You just have to let them be. You just have to let them be. All right? So understand that. Understand that. Let them be. Ah, boy. Ah, boy. Let them be. Yeah. Let them be. I think I'm going to call it a night for this one. I've been on for a while. And if you think that telling the truth won't get you anywhere, it will. It will. You just have to believe it and follow through. Right? Believe it and follow through. The truth shall set you free. The truth shall set you free. And if it don't set you free, it will darn sure set that person free at some point. It will set them free at some point. All right? So, listen, as I like to say, all right, one love and respects. I appreciate you for watching. And remember to always question everything. Because if you don't, you may fall for anything. Think and say. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Right? I hope you enjoy your time with me. And I hope my information was informative. I hope my monologue gave you some insight so that you know you can question everything. And on that note, I appreciate you and thank you for watching.